Think Again TV is produced by Centre for Inquiry, Canada's premier venue for secular humanists, atheists, skeptics, and free thinkers.
For that, Ray, I do want people to leave this program knowing how to get to Jesus. I mean, it is really, really good news. I tell you what, I'm going to get to more phone calls here in a moment. But Ray, I want to play a Faith View segment here. This is actually getting a perspective from an atheist, Kevin Smith in this case, who was kind enough to share his thoughts with us. And then maybe you can give a brief response afterward, sure. Ray. And we asked how he feels about Christians when they go about evangelizing like you do and sharing their faith. And here's his response.
I understand that Christians are supposed to spread the good news about Christ. But what if those being told this news have other beliefs? What if they believe in Shiva or Buddha just as strongly as Christians believe in Yahweh? There are millions of people around the globe that believe in other supernatural deities based on what culture they were born into. There are lots of gods to pick from. What if these people decide to spread their good news about their God, complete with their own set of morals and values? How would Christians feel after all? Maybe Shiva or Krishna, maybe one of them is the one true God. I think that it is presumptuous and frankly arrogant when anyone shares their faith with me, particularly when there is an intent to convert, which it almost always is. I most strongly don't believe in any gods, just as strongly as people of faith believe in theirs. I respect everyone to worship any god they pick, but for me it is a human superstition, a residual of our tribal cultures. So I won't spread my good news if Christians promise not to do the same. There is a quote I think it is appropriate to finish with. We are all just atheists in respect to the thousands of gods who have ever lived. I just go one god further.
All right, there you go, Ray. How would you respond to Kevin?
Kevin is a cut-and-paste atheist, and anyone can become a cut-and-paste atheist. You just get on an atheist website and you'll find the exact same questions. Richard Dawkins is a cut-and-paste. He copied Mark Twain's arguments. Mark Twain was a man who ended up very bitter, but he wasn't an atheist. He was just very bitter and had a lot of these other silly questions that people cut and paste. And that's why we produced this book. The average atheist can confound the average Christian by going onto the internet and finding the cream of their arguments, things that don't seem to have an answer, but they all have a very simple answer. But an atheist like Kevin sees what he's doing as a hill to die on, because Christianity threatens his pornography, his fornication, and so he's against the morality of Christianity. That's why he's incredibly intolerant. He says, I promise I'll not share mine if you promise not to share yours.
Right, although in reality, maybe you're assuming some things there. We don't know if he's fornicating or pornography, but whatever. But you're saying...
I'd bet my life on it, Paul. I absolutely would, because I know where these people are coming from. Because it's such an adamant argument from it. It's a hill to die on. And when you press them and say, what don't you like about Christianity? Why is it that you don't mind these other religions? It's because of the moral responsibility that Christianity says that sinners have before God. But yeah, okay, Kevin may not be a fornicator, but if I could talk to him now, if he called up and I'd asked him, has he got a girlfriend? Are they having sex? He says, sure, I enjoy it, We've got freedom to look at what we want on the internet. So these questions that he's asking, there's lots of gods. Of course there's lots of gods. That's what the first commandment deals with. You shall have no other gods before me. Man makes up his own gods, and there's only one God, the creator of all things, and he's perfect, and he's holy, and he's righteous. And if you and I answer even one of his questions that he's asked, he's got a whole list that he can go to back up his arguments. And what you've got to do, if you want to be effective in reaching people like Kevin, is go from the intellect, the place of argument, to the conscience, the place of the knowledge of right and wrong, and diffuse his arguments, because they're all nonsensical. Like, we're all born atheists. Well, if when we were born we had no beliefs, then you can say that about trees. Trees have got no beliefs, therefore trees were born atheists. And so these arguments are really quite silly when it comes down to it. And the difference between Christianity and all these other religions that he's looking at is that Christianity offers forgiveness of sins. It offers assurance of everlasting life. And none of those religions do that. All works righteousness, as we mentioned before. So I deal with Kevin's every day. I've got hundreds of atheists that are on my blog, Atheist Central. And they all have the same arguments. I love them, they hate me, but they keep coming back. Have been doing it for nearly 4 years now, every day. Hundreds of atheists.
That's, of course, what the book is about. So the Defender's Guide for Life's Toughest Questions, coming from atheists and skeptics. So that's great.
Think Again TV is produced by Centre for Inquiry, Canada's premier venue for secular humanists, atheists, skeptics, and free thinkers.
CFI Canada coordinates branches and campus groups across the country, runs a public education series, provides secular community services, incorporates cutting-edge multimedia such as blogs, podcasts, and YouTube, and is a regular voice in the press presenting a secular humanist, atheist, and skeptical perspective.